Uh, okay. Hey, team. This is Danny White here with the Mental Fitness Mastermind podcast powered by mentalfitness.care and the Athlete Mental Health Certification Program, where athletes are going to be helping athletes defeat mental health challenges in the game of life. Okay, so let me read down here real quick. The goal of the Mental Fitness Mastermind podcast is to bring together a collection of current and former athletes, mental health professionals, sports psychologists, and come up with a solution to defeat the mental battles that athletes face every day, because we all go through them. And an athlete mindset is a little different. You know, we're not just like everybody else. We think different. We've been conditioned different. So it takes athletes to help athletes, in my opinion. And I think that most of the people that are on this podcast or listen might agree. And the best way for us to do that, we felt like what we could do is to share real stories from real athletes who have gone through and are going through mental battles. Because, you know, I was telling someone the other day about mental health and mental health challenges and the battles we face. As a fighter, as a former fighter myself, you know, if you knock someone down, you know, there's sometimes they'll stay down. But there are those guys, there are those women, there's those people in life, you know, that are fighters, that if you knock them down in the ring, they're getting back up. And so mental health is one of those challenges that even though you might win this round or win that fight, they're coming back. So you got to keep fighting. So that's the best thing that we thought we could do, is bring together a collection of minds, from athletes to mental health professionals, sports psychologists, stakeholders within the athlete community, coaches, parents, brands, businesses that cater. Their world revolves around athletes. Then you have a position on our team, because we all stick together. We all win as one unit. Winning teams are not made up of the best individual players. They're made up of the people that come together and play as one for a goal. Okay. So that's the whole goal of this podcast. And then we're going to be, making great connections with other athletes and professionals. So I'm getting redundant here. All right, so let's meet one of your teammates. I just found out that he's one of my arch enemies, because I'm a former free safety, a defensive back, and Bryant Lavender is a is a receiver. So when we first come up here, we had to break up a fight. We were both I knocked over my monitor 3 times when I first I was like, what are you doing, man? And what are you doing? I still got PTSD from, as a slow, I wasn't a slow, I was a 4.5, 4.7, but everybody runs a 4.5, right, Brian? I was probably the slowest defensive back that ever started a college team. But, I was telling someone the other day, I said, they go, what's it like being an entrepreneur? And I said, I'll tell you what it's like being an entrepreneur. It's like running a 4.7, 4.5, 4.7, and being a cornerback and having to go up against and guard people like Bryant that actually can run. And you're sitting there thinking, I hope the quarterback throws a terrible pass. I hope the quarterback throws a terrible pass. I hope it's a run. That's what it's like, because you can do everything you want and he's still getting past you. And then you have to come back to the huddle, just your business partners, and with your head down going, hey, what happened? Well, and then when you do cover him, he can jump higher than you, because your 29-inch vertical leap ain't getting nothing. So anyway, all right, Bryant, take it over, man. Let's hear from you. Let's hear about you, and kind of the segment. Awesome, my man.
All right, my name is Bryant Lavender. Originally from I played high school ball in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I got an opportunity to play at the University of South Alabama for 5 years. I was part of the first team to ever be at South Alabama.
Nice.
And I actually got an opportunity to go on to play arena ball. My first team was with the Tampa Bay Storm. Nice. And then I went down and played with the Central Florida Jaguars, Torch, in Raleigh, North Carolina. Nice. In the midst of all of that, I published my first 3 books, and then during the pandemic, I published my 4th book, Finding My Way Back, and then I'm actually getting ready to release my 5th book, called Encounters. My most favorite book of all of my books right now is called Driven: Fight for What They Said You Couldn't Have. It actually title. Explicitly explains. Yeah, it explicitly explains my journey as an athlete, and I actually on the wall perspective of what actually happened through my process, and how I got to be the football player, and what I did, and how I got there, the problems that I dealt with on and off the football field, and kind of my mindset going through the process of getting recruited while I was at college, and then, you know, ultimately getting ready for the pros.
This is going to be exciting. It's a fantastic title, and I want to hear that, man. That's a great story. So, Sweet Asylum, Something's on My Mind. What is that? Tell me about that.
So that actually is my second book, and that is actually a collaboration with myself and Shanice Cheney. It's more on the poetry side. So we actually just talked about relationship stuff that we were dealing with, and while we was going through high school, we always got together and we would do like free verse things when we would connect. Some days we would be like going through some stuff mentally, or just had writer's block, and you know, it seemed like in that time that we would always hit each other up. And so, can we connect? Can we have like a little, artistic moment? And we'd be like, yes. And so we would just spit, poems back and forth. And so that was something that was really something really cool. And we came up with that title because, sweet came from, when you look at us, everything looks like it's together. But, asylum comes from like inside our head. It's a crazy house. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it is
going on. And
so I got a couple
so
people running around up here right now that's in trouble. If I catch them, they're in trouble. They're going to be in lockdown. So you like you like community collaboration.
That's kind of how we got that title.
Yeah. So you use collaboration, almost journaling, you know what I mean? Basically writing out your thoughts and getting it out of here, getting it on here is kind of a therapy for you.
Right, exactly it. That's actually how the first two books came about. Mind Under Pigskin, and that title is
these titles are awesome, man.
Well, it's my that was my first book, and that one is letting everybody know, like everybody know, when you type my name in Google, the first thing that's gonna pop up is football.
Yeah,
but Mind Under Pigskin, what is that? What are you under the football? So I just wanted to show people that there is more to a kid than shoulder pads, cleats, and a jersey.
Oh, so good, man.
And so like that's, like I said, those my first two books are actually on the poetry side, because those are my journals, my thoughts just on paper, like something that I needed to get out, because growing up, I lost my father at 13. I'm one of three going on. As an athlete, I needed to separate athletics from real life, which is kind of funny, because this being a football or an athlete, like you get away from real life by playing your sport. But what do you do when your sport is getting foggy? And that's where I found a pen. When football was getting foggy, that's when I found the pen.
Thank God for the world, man, because you've got a serious talent. You're a great writer and you got a great mind. And I listen, I just discovered you probably about a month ago, and I started following your content and kind of reading some of the things that you're spitting out. And man, you definitely have a talent, and the world needs to hear what you have to say. So what was the toughest? I mean, I know it's in the book, but I'm just going to have you go ahead and maybe speak on it. What's the toughest mental health challenge you've ever faced as an athlete? Now, obviously, you've suffered some great loss, it sounds like. So, I mean, just that alone is, I don't even know how to even go into that, but just what is your toughest mental health challenge you've ever faced as an athlete as it relates to that?
As an athlete, hold on.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sorry. So the toughest thing that as an athlete that I dealt with, it was coming back from my freshman year Christmas break, because as South we couldn't play anybody in Christmas break because it was the first year, so we didn't have like a bowl game or end of the year game. We only played 7 games, and coming back to see my mouth, and
you broke up just a little. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You broke up just a little bit. Would you repeat that again?
Yeah, so my coach that helped me get my scholarship to South, like he took me to the camp when they offered me a scholarship.
Right.
I went back to see him. He still was working at my old high school, and I was just kind of like, he kept asking me all these questions. Are you making sure you take care of your classes? Yes, sir. Are you doing what you need to do in the weight room? Yes, sir. Are you getting bigger, strong? Those right? Yeah, all those.
Boring.
He kept asking.
Yeah.
Them. I stopped and I said, Coach, what they say? what did they say to you? Like, what did they say to you?
Where's this coming from?
And right, exactly. And so he said, I got a call from the guy that took over your recruiting, and he said, you're not the athlete they thought they signed.
What?
That crushed me.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, that crushed me. And I was kind of confused. I was like, what? They told me that. What? I was confused. And like, I don't even, to be honest with you, to this day, I don't think that they know that I know. I mean, of course, eventually they will know, because everything that's happening now that will. But yeah, so that blew my mind. Like, that was the toughest thing. Then I had to go back to school with that on my mind and perform.
Okay.
And so yeah, that was the toughest.
Performance anxiety then. So were they referring to, I'm sorry when I keep interrupting you, everyone listening, and for you as well, my man. It's just a little lag, but we'll get through it. You know, it's not perfect world. But when they're saying that you're not the athlete that they thought that they signed, are they talking about the student athlete? Are they talking about on the field? I mean, the only people that I've ever felt like, you know, I could see them getting let down with me running a 4, 5, 7, 8. Getting burned every other play. But I mean, what happened? What do they mean by that?
I think I never addressed it. But I believe that it was per se, which I was confused at that, because I did get bigger, stronger, faster. I excelled, you know, I got better. And so I'm like, what do you mean? You know, and so that was that was the biggest. It was weird because it did what they said didn't line up to what the amount of work that I had put in and the amount of results that I saw myself. So yeah, that was probably one of the.
That's a tough one, because, you know, as a wise man once said, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And just because, you know, someone says something and we slough it off, and it's just kind of like, again, I reference fighting a lot. When you get hit, I mean, you get knocked, you got to shake it off. Or when you're, you know, these quarterbacks are tough. I mean, I can't believe some of the hits these quarterbacks take. And you receivers, you don't ever get hit too much. You're too pretty to get hit. But but we got to slough it off. As athletes, we're taught to just shake it off and get back into the play, because if you're pouting, if you're sitting there and your mind's in the past, then you're gonna get knocked out the next round or the next fight or the next play. And so we're taught to shake that off. However, that's physically and that's mindset and also mentally, but it's on the game. We have something that is capturing our consciousness. We have something that's capturing our mindset. So it's the next play. So, but when someone talks and says something personal that relates to us and kind of stings us personally, our ego is a little bit damaged, but also because all of us athletes are a little fragile anyway, ego wise. I mean, we act like we're not, but we are. And then when you have something like that, I mean, I can only imagine how that'd been a big challenge. So how did you overcome it? Did you just ignore it? Did it make you work harder? How did you overcome that?
I didn't ignore it. I accepted what they said, and I wore it on my back, personally, you know, internally.
Motivation.
But I went to work. I went to work. I went to work. I went and I did everything that I needed, that I knew that I needed to do. You know, I knew. I came into South. I was 172, jumped from 172 to 180, 185.
My size.
My equilibrium. Yeah, right. So my equilibrium was a little off, because that was the heaviest I had ever been, and then I was growing. I had hit a growth spurt, getting taller. So it was, everything was coming at once, you know. And so that summer, after he told me that, I didn't lift a weight, I just ran routes. I just went to go run routes.
Nice.
You know, that I knew that lifting weights. I was already strong enough at that moment.
Gotcha.
I wanted to out of my break smoothly, and so I just went and ran routes, and I caught the football. And I was like, I'm not the athlete they thought they signed. Oh my goodness, you know. And so
that's awesome, man. You became a player.
Yeah,
you said, okay,
so I ended up that next year. I actually ended up being the second leading receiver, and I would go on the following year to be the leading receiver.
That's right.
And then by the time I left, by the time I left, I actually put my face on all the city buses in the stadium, and I became a captain on the team.
That's what I'm talking about. Get some bus action.
So
get your face out there. I mean, wide receiver. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of wide receivers. For the record, I'm not. If all the defensive backs out there are listening to this, I'm not really a fan of wide receivers. I'm doing this for the show. Thank you very much. So what advice can you give? Because coaches, especially with social media, they might say some things, they might slip up, and that if that's happened to you, it happens before. But you know what? Let's say it this way. Look at the coach's perspective. Sometimes from a situation, we all make mistakes. Coaches are no different. We all can evaluate something. We go and buy it and we bring it home, or we do something, we work on it, we drive in it, and we say, this is not what I thought it was, because it presented itself as one thing. Authenticity is a lost thing. But if the coach might have said that, maybe he didn't do his homework, maybe he's too busy. I mean, let's look at it from his perspective. But what advice, would you give other people, other athletes that are going through that same thing? What advice would you give them? Obviously, you went to work. Would you say get to work? Would you say confront the coach? What would you, the advice that you would give? Obviously, what's worked for you is, getting to work.
There's two things that I would say. The first thing I would say, it's never as worse as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems, and it's never as worse as bad as it seems.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. The second thing is, negatively will only breed negative results.
Say that again, because that's a profound statement.
Responding negatively will only breed negative results.
Amen. And preach.
There's
pass the offering cup.
So just to break it, just to break it down, understand that your goal as an athlete is to be the best athlete you can possibly be.
That you can be.
As an athlete, we strap on the cleats, we put on the sneakers, or we hit a racket. We face adversity. So why? But what's different is that when the adversity comes from the person that you've trusted with your ability to get better.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that?
How do you
understand that? Yeah. So for me, how I dealt with it was, you feel this way about me. I don't feel, your feelings are valid. My feelings are valid as well. But that doesn't mean just because you don't believe in me, because there's more than one coach on the staff.
Yeah.
Just because that one coach doesn't believe in you doesn't mean you need to quit the team or transfer. Yeah. No, go to the coaches that believe in you.
Yeah.
And get the wisdom. Don't say, well, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't tell the coach what another coach said. What I would do is just speak into me. Get the pointers that they will say. And then when they get into their coaches meeting, because they have a lot of coaches meeting.
Yeah.
Watch how many coaches that are on your side bring your name up.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all about that, because if you
brotherhood, sisterhood,
that's it. Because if you do what you're supposed to do, you're on time, you don't cause problems, you are a leader, not but because you want to look good in front of, but you actually want to
you're
be
a receiver.
A leader.
You always want to look good.
Your name, that's what I'm saying. Your name is going to come up in the meetings. Well, who was the best one today?
Yeah.
Bryant Lavender. Oh, who did well today? Bryant Lavender.
Yeah.
If your name keeps coming up, regardless of that one coach says, guess what? Mm-hmm. Just like film doesn't lie, coaches vouching for you don't lie either.
That's right. Actions. Let your actions speak. Don't pout. Don't suck up. Don't get in there and recluse. It is tough. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't talk about it and you don't express your feelings. I mean, that's, again, we're getting away from that for everybody listening. We're not saying, just be tough and just ignore it and not show emotions and hurt and all of that. Yes, express that. That's the healthy part. Okay. That's the sweat that we need to get that toxic out of there. So go ahead and get that out. But simultaneously, don't stop working is what you're saying, Bryant. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do not stop working, because you can't allow one person word to kill your dream that you've had since you was 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah. Amen. Good stuff. Okay. So
I
I'm
want
gonna,
to be right here.
yeah, absolutely. And you wouldn't have your face on a bus. I don't know. I mean, hey, they don't put faces of 4, 5, 7, 8 cornerbacks on the bus. I can promise you that. All right. So I thought I was so fast. How was I supposed to know a 1A high school running back would not be fast in college? Okay, so what's your daily mental fitness routine? What is it? I mean, do you read something consistently? I know, for me, I got to get some form of movement. It's not, sometimes I got to watch that because I go all in or all out sometimes. But I got to get some kind of movement. I watch, with social media, there's people that I follow. Obviously, I'm going to be starting to follow you a lot more. I love some of the things that you're saying and some of the quick, intellect that you're shouting out. And I'm definitely going to do that. But I follow people along the way. And I listen to kind of what they're doing, little quick things. Anthony Trucks. I don't know if you know who Anthony Trucks is, but this guy, wow, he was in Oregon. He played football at Oregon and played some in the NFL. Look him up, Anthony Trucks. Just Google Anthony Trucks, and then I get my daily dose of enthusiasm from that guy. But that's part of my mental fitness workout. Is something that I actually do every day to keep myself at a certain level. What do you do every day? What's your mental fitness routine? Not your exercise routine necessarily, but what do you do to keep your mind in shape every day?
Right. Yeah. So on a daily basis, I pray. I am a Christian, so I pray. I pray daily. Also on top of that, I speak words of life and encouragement to myself.
Nice. To yourself.
So to myself.
Speak words to yourself. I love that. And by the way, just sorry to interrupt. And you did an interview with yourself the other day, and I thought that was brilliant. So that was awesome. You speak words of life to yourself. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I speak words of life to myself. I also, I do read, because I write. I'm an author, so I read daily. And those are the 3 things that I do. I pray, I speak words of encouragement to myself, and I read.
Wonderful.
And every now and then I might go watch like a comedy.
Something light, something light, keep it light, something, you can tell by, I like to laugh a lot. I'm so sarcastic sometimes, but I'm always laughing. I'm always kind of, picking my wife and my dad or my daughter and my wife just kind of roll their eyes like, please forgive him when they hate going to restaurants with me, because I'm trying to lighten the load a little bit. I'm trying to get people to break it up. I mean, life's hard enough. It's serious, but we got to have fun. You know what I mean? When the whistle blows and it's time to strap it on, let's get it on in business. But in between that time, let's lighten it up, because sometimes for me anyway, it helps me think more clear if I'm not just screwed down too tight. Okay. Last question here. Guilty pleasure. What's something that you do? And when I say guilty pleasure, I'm not talking about something a lot of people know, but something that if your roommates, if your teammates knew that you did, they'd be like, oh man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, Brian, get in the game.
If they knew.
Please don't say keeping up with the Kardashians.
See, my guilty pleasure. Well, everybody knows what I do now. I love to write. I used to write. Like, they didn't know. A lot of people didn't know I wrote in college. Right. And so now it's out. Like, I write, man, you write books? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like,
man.
What?
Good books too.
And so so that's my guilty pleasure. Now what I do, because people know that I do that, I guess my guilty pleasure, I like to eat cookies. You know what I mean?
Me too, man.
Like, I like to eat not just any cookies, not any cookies. They have to be like, my favorite cookie is macadamia nut cookies. Like, I love to eat those.
Rich. You're a rich cookie eater. I've gotten really good. Oreos, the package of Oreos, they have that thing that you can slide up. I've gotten really good at, I grab them and then pull, kind of pull them up. So my wife, when she comes in and opens it, it doesn't look like, you see those movies where people wake up and they've got blood on their hands. They must have made a murder because they blacked out. I wake up sometimes and I look at myself in the mirror and I have Oreo cookie crust everywhere. I'm like, no, I'm on a diet. All right. So tell everybody how they can find you online, Bryant. I mean, obviously you got LinkedIn, you got Facebook, social. Where are you at, man?
So Bryant Lavender. On LinkedIn it's Bryant Lavender. On Instagram it's Bryant Lavender _. Twitter is Bryant _Lavender.
Right.
Just Bryant Lavender. Also it's a company where we can give you personalized messages.
What is it? So what is it again? It cut out.
Obsession.
Okay.
Obsession, like obsession.
Yes.
So it's a way for people to connect with like current and former athletes. You know, they have like workout routines they need help with.
Nice.
Of course, I'm a receiver, so catching mechanics or route running, or also mental help. You know,
need to connect them with us.
How do you deal with if if you guys need to just look me up on Obsession, Bryant Lavender, and let's see how we can help you get work out your mental problems, and we can get you connected with me and get you connected with the mental fitness mental mastermind, and we'll work it out.
Fantastic. And I'm going to put all that information down in the message slot and through where everybody can find it. But let me tell you something, folks. Bryant Lavender is a meteoric guy that's on the rise. I mean, you don't hear me talking about receivers like that too much, but this guy is, he's the real deal. I mean, he's somebody that is going to breathe life into you. And just, there's those people. Look at his picture on the damn Instagram every time, or excuse me, LinkedIn. Every time I look at it, I can't help from to smile. And that's the kind of business that you're putting out. That's the kind of books that you're writing. That's the kind of man you are. That's the kind of athlete you are. And I appreciate you coming on the Mental Fitness Mastermind. And if there's anything that I can do for you along the way, you can hit me up. So we're going to stay in touch. Bryant, thanks for coming on. Okay.
That's right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, my man. I'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great day. Love you all.
All righty.
That's awesome. Great guy.